The eerie silence is broken by whispers that send chills down your spine. The desert wind carries secrets, whispers on the breeze, stories told in hushed tones around flickering campfires, tales of ancient beings, powerful and malevolent, lurking in the shadows of the Navajo nation. These are the stories of the Skinwalkers, shapeshifters of the Navajo, creatures of immense power who stalk the night. To the Navajo people, their very name is a curse, a chilling whisper that sends shivers down the spine. To understand the Skinwalker, one must first understand the Navajo way. Their deep connection to the land, their reverence for the natural world, is the foundation of their culture. Within this intricate web of belief, the concept of Hozo holds paramount importance. Hozo represents balance, harmony, beauty, and goodness. But like all things in the universe, Hozo exists in delicate equilibrium with its antithesis, Hocho, the embodiment of chaos, evil, and all things that threaten the balance.
Those who stray from the path of Hozo, who break the most sacred of taboos, become the Skinwalkers. Ancient rituals and forbidden knowledge intertwine in a mystical dance.
The Navajo word for skinwalker, Yi Nald Lushi, literally translates to, "With it he goes on all fours." Legends speak of a creature that can take on any form, lurking in the shadows. It is said they can take on the form of any animal they choose, their transformation so complete that it defies all natural law. Skinwalkers are masters of illusion, capable of bending perception, of planting thoughts in the minds of their victims. But one thing remains constant. A skinwalker is a creature of pure malice, a perversion of the sacred, an embodiment of the darkness that lurks at the edges of our understanding. The Navajo Nation is a land of vast, stark beauty. Towering mesas cast long shadows across the desert floor, ancient canyons whisper secrets to the wind. It is also a place where stories of the Skinwalkers are more than just legend. They are a chilling reality, whispered from generation to generation. For the Navajo people, these stories are not a matter of belief, but of knowledge. They are a part of their history, their culture, their very being.
For those who have heard the whispers on the wind, who have seen the fear in the eyes of those who know, there can be no doubt the Skinwalkers are real.
The wind carries secrets and stories of the past, haunting those who listen. The story of Michael is one such whisper. A young man from outside the reservation, he found himself driving through the Navajo Nation late one night.
As I drove, I noticed a figure in the distance, silhouetted against the moonlit sky. It appeared to be a coyote standing at the edge of the road, its eyes glowing with an unnatural intensity. As I got closer, the coyote turned its head, and for a fleeting moment I could have sworn I saw a human face staring back at me. A face contorted in a grotesque grin, full of malice and ill intent.
Shaken, Michael continued on his journey, his mind racing. The image of the creature's eyes, the unsettling feeling of being watched, stayed with him long after he had left the reservation. Sarah, a rancher who lived on the outskirts of the reservation, had her own chilling encounter. Her family had lived on the land for generations.
It began with strange noises at night, the unsettling feeling of being watched. My livestock grew skittish, their eyes wide with fear, their bodies bearing unexplained wounds. Then, one night, I saw it. A large dark shape moving through the trees near my barn. It moved with an unnatural agility, its eyes glowing like embers in the darkness.
Sarah watched in horror as the creature stalked towards her house, its movements fluid and silent. She knew that she was in grave danger, that this was no ordinary animal. The full moon hung low in the sky, casting an eerie silver glow on the high desert plains. The air was deathly still.
Instinct took over. I scrambled back from the window, my mind racing, desperately searching for a way out of this nightmare.
She had to face this, alone. Grasping at a shred of hope, she remembered the stories her grandfather used to tell, tales passed down through generations of Navajo shepherds. He spoke of ancient rituals, of offerings made to appease the spirits, of talismans imbued with protective magic. But those were just stories, weren't they? Under the full moon, the hunter becomes the hunted. The Skinwalker paused at the edge of the porch. its shadowy form almost indistinguishable from the darkness that cloaked the world outside.
I watched, my breath caught in my throat, as it slowly raised its head, its eyes burning like twin embers in the night.
Desperate, Sarah rummaged through her grandfather's old chest, her fingers trembling as they sifted through faded photographs and hand-woven blankets. A small pouch, tucked into the corner, caught her eye.
With a silent prayer to the spirits of my ancestors, I slipped out the back door and into the darkness, the small pouch clutched tightly in my hand. An ancient ritual that demands a sacrifice.
The night air was thick with the scent of sagebrush and the chilling howl of the Skinwalker. Closer now.
I stumbled through the darkness, my heart pounding in my chest, my lungs burning with exertion. The old well was just ahead.
As she approached the well, Sarah fumbled with the leather pouch, her fingers clumsy with fear. She had to hurry.
I'd been foolish to think that a simple offering would be enough to stop a creature of such primal evil. There was no bargaining with a Skinwalker, trapped in a nightmare with no way out.
The desert stretched out like a parched beast, baking under the relentless Arizona sun. A lone Greyhound bus rumbled down the highway.
I wasn't like the other passengers, a mix of weary travelers and locals returning from errands in distant towns. I carried the city in my bones.
The answer lay tucked away in her backpack, nestled among the well-worn notebooks and dog-eared paperbacks. A worn, leather-bound journal, its pages filled with faded ink and chilling tales.
I had always been drawn to my grandmother's stories, whispered accounts of ancient magic and terrifying creatures from her childhood on the reservation, stories of the Skinwalkers.
The boundary between the known and the unknown.
The sprawling metropolis of Phoenix seemed a world away from the quiet reservation where Lena's grandmother had grown up.
But Lena couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. It had started subtly, a prickling sensation at the back of her neck.
She sought refuge in the cool, dimly lit sanctuary of the university library, her grandmother's journal open before her. She pored over the faded script, deciphering the cryptic notes.
Her grandmother wrote of the Skinwalker's ability to blend in, to mimic human behavior, to move unseen among the unsuspecting. They could be anyone, anywhere. The city hides its own dark secrets.
Days turned into weeks as Lena delved deeper into her research. She sought out experts in Native American folklore and the occult.
Most dismissed her inquiries as the ramblings of a grieving granddaughter, but a few cautioned her against digging too deep.
Undeterred, Lena pressed on, her curiosity fueled by grief and dread. She felt a connection to her grandmother through these stories, but at what cost?
One evening, she noticed a figure standing across the street, partially concealed in the shadows. A tall, gaunt figure, its features obscured by the darkness.
Lena paused, her heart pounding in her chest. The figure remained motionless, its gaze fixed on her, sending chills down her spine.
The price of curiosity. Curiosity can lead to dangerous discoveries. Lena stood frozen on the library steps, the echo of thunder rumbling through the city like a growl from some unseen beast. Rain, heavy and insistent, began to fall, washing away the oppressive heat of the day, but doing little to quell the unease that coiled in Lena's gut.
The shadowy figure, the piercing gaze, it all felt too familiar, too close to the stories that had consumed her waking hours.
Back in her small apartment, the city sounds muted by the downpour, Lena tried to convince herself it was just a trick of the light. But the stories whispered by her grandmother painted a different picture. A picture where the line between myth and reality blurred, where ancient evils walked among us.
The old radio lay on her desk, its dials worn from years of use. Lena turned the dial, seeking solace in the static-filled airwaves.
A signal, faint and eerie, broke through the static. They prey on fear, these creatures. They sense it, feed off it. To show fear is to invite them in. Sleep offered no escape.
Lena's dreams were haunted by shadowy figures and glowing eyes. The line between waking and dreaming blurred, leaving her disoriented.
She constantly looked over her shoulder, scanning crowds for the figure. Her city now felt alien, filled with potential threats.
Was this what it meant to be hunted? To feel an unseen predator? To see danger lurking around every corner? To feel watchful eyes? The primal instinct to hunt and survive. Days turned into weeks, the fear a constant companion. Lena threw herself into her research, desperately seeking answers.
Was it possible, she wondered, that the Skinwalkers were not literal creatures, but manifestations of our deepest fears? Were they the shadows cast by our own internal demons?
But even as she entertained these possibilities, a nagging doubt lingered. The journal, her grandmother's chilling accounts, they felt too real.
Between myth and reality, the line between legend and truth is blurred. Lena knew she couldn't ignore the possibility, however remote, that the stories were true. The stories of the Skinwalkers linger like a chilling breeze through the canyons of the Navajo Nation and beyond. They are more than just tales told to frighten children. They are a stark reminder of the darkness that exists just beyond the fringes of our perception, a darkness that whispers to us in the stillness of the night, in the rustling of leaves, in the shadows that dance at the edge of our vision. We have journeyed from the desolate beauty of the reservation to the heart of the bustling city, following the threads of fear and fascination that bind us to these chilling tales. We have heard the whispers of those who claim to have encountered these creatures, felt the weight of their unseen gaze, and grappled with the terrifying possibility that the world is not as we perceive it to be. The Skinwalker, with its ability to shapeshift, to blend in, to prey on our deepest fears, embodies our primal anxieties about the unknown. It represents the darkness that lurks within us all, the potential for evil that can consume even the most righteous among us. As we have seen, these stories are not confined to the reservation or to ancient legends. They have a way of seeping into our modern world, finding purchase in the shadows of our cities, in the static of our technology, in the unexplored corners of our minds. A shadow that follows, never leaving your side. Mysteries that remain unsolved, haunting our thoughts. Are Skinwalkers real creatures, flesh and blood beings with supernatural abilities? Or are they something more ethereal, more psychological, manifestations of our collective fears and anxieties given form? Are they purely malevolent, driven by an insatiable thirst for terror and destruction? Or is there a deeper purpose to their actions, a connection to the spiritual realm that we, with our limited understanding, cannot comprehend?
The Navajo people, the keepers of these ancient tales, offer no easy answers. Their stories serve as cautionary warnings, reminders of the delicate balance between the physical and spiritual worlds, and the consequences of straying too far from the path of harmony.
The lack of definitive answers only adds to the allure of the Skinwalker legend. It is in the unknown, in the spaces between belief and disbelief, that fear flourishes. It is the possibility, however remote, that these creatures might be real, that keeps us looking over our shoulders, questioning the shadows, and wondering if the rustling leaves are merely the whispers of the wind, or something far more sinister. The legacy of the Skinwalker is one of fear, respect, and a healthy dose of caution. These stories remind us that the world is a vast and mysterious place, filled with wonders and terrors that defy our comprehension. They urge us to tread carefully, to respect the beliefs and traditions of those who came before us, and to acknowledge the darkness that exists both within and outside of ourselves. The Skinwalker, in its own terrifying way, teaches us the importance of balance, of respecting the unseen forces that shape our world, and of acknowledging the consequences of our actions. Whether we choose to believe in the literal existence of these creatures or not, the stories themselves hold a powerful message, a message that resonates across cultures and throughout time. That fear is a potent force, one that can both protect and destroy, and that the line between myth and reality is often blurred, leaving us to grapple with the unsettling truth that sometimes the things we fear the most are the things we cannot explain. The stories of the Skinwalkers will continue to be told, whispered around campfires and shared in hushed tones long after the last embers have died down. They will continue to haunt our imaginations, to challenge our perceptions of reality, and to remind us that even in the bright light of day, the shadows are always watching. The fear that is passed down through generations,